They hear it before they see it. A deep, throaty rumble echoing through the pines. 6 hikers freeze mid-step, hearts pounding, eyes darting between the trees. The forest is thick with morning mist, sunbeams slicing through like ghostly spears. Every crackle of twigs feels like a threat. Then, through the fog, a massive black shape emerges. A grizzly bear, huge, its fur matted with dirt and leaves, its breath heavy and labored. The hikers stagger backward, grabbing each other in panic, but the bear doesn't charge. It collapses forward, groaning, its giant head sinking into the underbrush. One hiker, adrenaline coursing through her veins, inches closer, phone trembling in her hand. She can't believe what she's seeing. This creature, a symbol of unstoppable power, looks broken. The others beg her to stay back. They shout, "We have to leave, now!" But she can't look away. A pool of dark blood spreads under the bear's side, staining fallen pine needles. Its ribs heave with each painful breath, and a gash along its abdomen opens wider with every movement. The stench of blood and wild musk hangs thick in the air. Finally, the group huddles together, arguing in frantic whispers. Someone suggests running to the nearest ranger station, but another insists they won't make it in time. Panic clashes with pity. A young man, barely holding it together, pulls out a satellite phone. His hands shake as he dials emergency wildlife rescue. They wait in terrified silence. Minutes feel like hours. The bear shifts, groans again, and one hiker cries out, convinced it's about to die right in front of them. They're trapped between wanting to flee and feeling drawn to this vulnerable giant. Birds shriek above them, sensing the chaos below. The group starts piling rocks around them. As a crude defense, their eyes fixed on the bear in horror. It tries to rise but collapses again, sides heaving. Finally, over the treetops, the low whir of a helicopter blades cuts through the tension. Relief washes over the hikers in an overwhelming wave. They wave their arms, shouting, their voices cracking. A bright orange rescue harness dangles from the sky. The sound grows deafening as a man in a bright green vest drops down, Dr. Keller. The vet lands with practiced urgency, scanning the group and then locking eyes with the dying bear. His face hardens instantly, reading the danger and the mystery all at once. Without a word, he gestures for the hikers to stay back and moves toward the animal. The hikers watch, gripping each other, unable to look away from the massive beast struggling to cling to life. A single thought pulses through the group like a shared heartbeat. Something is horribly wrong here. Dr. Keller doesn't hesitate. He strides forward, his boots sinking into the damp forest floor. The hikers shuffle back, eyes wide, breathing hard. They cling to each other, still trembling from the shock of seeing the bear so close. But Keller doesn't even flinch. He drops his pack beside the giant Grizzly, his gloved hands moving quickly and precisely. The bear's massive body shudders with each ragged breath. Keller kneels down, pressing his palm flat against the bear's flank, feeling for life. His brow furrows deeply. This isn't just an injury. Something inside the bear is moving, an unnatural shifting, almost like a heartbeat that doesn't belong. Keller's eyes snap up, scanning the hikers. "Stay back," he orders, voice low but firm. One of the hikers tries to step forward, but another grabs her arm, holding her tight. They watch, frozen, as Keller runs his hand along the bear's side, feeling every tremor and gurgle beneath the fur. Suddenly the bear jerks, its head lurching toward Keller. A strangled roar escapes its mouth, echoing through the trees and rolling over the hikers like a wave of pure terror. One woman covers her mouth, stifling a scream. Another man collapses to his knees, unable to handle the primal sound. Keller doesn't move an inch. His eyes lock with the bear's for a moment, a silent exchange between man and beast. Then the bear's head sinks back to the ground, drool and blood mixing in a dark puddle beneath its jaws. Keller leans closer, his breath visible in the cold air. He listens carefully, his face pale as he tries to make sense of the sounds beneath the bear's ribs. He pulls a small flashlight from his pocket, shines it along the wound, and recoils as something slick and dark shifts just under the torn skin. The hikers gasp in unison, some stepping back into the brush, stumbling over roots and rocks. One man vomits in the bushes, retching loudly. The tension is suffocating. Every second feels stretched and sharp. Keller wipes sweat from his forehead even though the air is cold. His hands tremble as he pulls out a syringe from his pack, preparing to sedate the bear. The metal needle glints in the morning light. The hikers watch, unable to tear their eyes away, their hearts pounding so hard they feel it in their throats. "Something's inside," Keller finally mutters, barely audible. The words hang in the air like a curse. He inserts the needle carefully, pressing the plunger slowly. The bear's eyes roll back, its breathing slowing as the drugs take hold. Keller exhales, a shaky, relieved breath, but his eyes never leave the gaping wound. The hikers huddle together, whispering prayers, eyes darting between the vet and the motionless bear. Every sound in the forest feels magnified, the crackle of a twig, the distant call of a crow, their own shaky breaths. As Keller prepares his tools, his face turns ghostly white. He reaches into the wound cautiously, fingers brushing against something warm and trembling. He jerks back, eyes wide with horror. Whatever is inside this bear isn't supposed to be there, and whatever it is, it's alive. Dr. Keller's gloves are soaked in blood as he leans into the bear's side. His breath hitches, clouds of vapor swirling around his face. The hikers stand a few paces back, gripping each other, wide-eyed and pale. One man keeps muttering, "Oh God, oh God," over and over like a broken record. Keller feels the slick movement again under the torn muscle. His fingers brush something soft, fur. He jerks back, hands trembling violently. The forest is deathly silent, as if the trees themselves are holding their breath. Suddenly, the bear's heartbeat spikes on Keller's portable monitor. Its massive paws twitch, claws scraping against the earth, leaving deep gouges in the pine needles. Blood gushes faster now, staining Keller's sleeves and pooling beneath the animal. Panic claws at Keller's mind. He realizes the bear is bleeding out far quicker than anticipated. If he doesn't act now, both the bear and whatever is inside it will die within minutes. He grabs forceps, clamps, and gauze, yelling to the hikers for help. "Hold this! Now!" he shouts, tossing a roll of bandages toward them. One hiker hesitates, then rushes forward, hands shaking so badly they nearly drop the supplies. Another hiker supports Keller's bag, frantically handing him tools. Keller forces his hand deep into the bear's side. His face twists in horror as he feels tiny ribs and a faint, frantic pulse. It's a wolf pup, still alive, barely. Its tiny chest shudders against his fingers. The realization slams into Keller's chest like a hammer. He must save 2 lives at once. Blood spurts across Keller's face as he clamps a torn artery in the bear. He shouts for suction, but there is none. He improvises, using a hiker's water bottle to flush blood away from the wound. One hiker collapses to the ground, sobbing into their palms, unable to comprehend the sight. The pup's breaths are shallow and uneven, each one a fragile gasp. Keller wraps trembling fingers around its tiny torso, careful not to crush its delicate bones. He pulls inch by inch, his heart pounding so hard he fears it might burst. The bear's pulse slows, dangerously close to stopping. Keller's eyes dart between the bear's monitor and the pup. He must decide, save the bear's failing heart or get the pup out first. He roars, a sound filled with raw desperation, and makes his choice. He yanks the pup free, blood and tissue splashing across his coat. In the same moment, he jams a clamp onto the bear's artery, stopping the gushing red tide by mere seconds. The pup lies motionless in his hands, slick and pale, its mouth barely moving. Keller flips it over, pumps its tiny chest, breathes gently into its snout. Silence wraps the forest like a shroud. Finally, a tiny choking whimper. The pup twitches, its eyes flickering open for a split second. Keller slumps forward, exhaustion flooding through him. His gloved hands are stained, his arms heavy as iron. The bear lets out a weak, gurgling sigh, but doesn't move. Around him, the hikers collapse in tears and stunned relief. Two lives hang by a thread, but against all logic, they are both still here. Dr. Keller kneels in a battlefield of blood and pine needles, heart hammering like a war drum. The wolf pup trembles faintly in his gloved hands, each breath a miracle. The hikers gather in a shaky semicircle, faces streaked with tears and dirt. One man drops to his knees, sobbing into his jacket. Another stands frozen, eyes locked on the tiny creature fighting for life. The bear lets out a low, gurgling moan that rattles through the clearing. Keller jerks his head toward the monitor. The bear's heart rate is plummeting. He curses under his breath, fumbling for a syringe filled with adrenaline. His fingers slip, and the vial nearly crashes to the ground. "Hold it steady! Hold it steady!" he shouts at a hiker, who lunges forward just in time to catch it. Keller plunges the needle into the bear's massive neck, pushing the fluid with all his strength. The machine beeps frantically, a flicker, then another. The bear's heart staggers back to life. Keller exhales sharply, but knows he's nowhere near safe. The pup's breathing falters again. Its small ribs collapse inward, eyes rolling back. Keller screams, "No! Not now!" He presses two fingers against the pup's fragile chest, pumping rhythmically. One hiker covers her ears, another collapses into the arms of a friend, their sobs echoing like ghost calls through the forest. A hawk screeches overhead, circling as if watching the final moments of an impossible battle. The ground beneath them is slick with blood, mud, and tears. The smell of iron hangs thick in the air, turning every inhale into a choke. Keller leans over the pup, his forehead nearly touching its fur. Come on," he whispers, his voice raw and broken. He breathes softly into its snout again and again. Finally, the pup's tiny chest jerks. Its mouth opens with a ragged, gasping squeak, a sound so faint the hikers almost miss it. One woman shrieks in disbelief, covering her face, tears pouring through her fingers. Keller cradles the pup against his chest, his body trembling from head to toe. He doesn't even realize his own tears are spilling down, mixing with the blood on his chin. The bear stirs behind him, a weak grunt pushing past its throat as its paws twitch. Keller's head snaps back to the bear. He grabs gauze and clamps, sealing the torn artery once more, fighting to stabilize its massive body. The hikers rush forward, holding supplies, pressing bandages, their own hands stained and shaking. "Don't give up! Stay with me!" Keller roars at the bear, his voice echoing between the trees. The hikers chant softly like a prayer, "Come on, come on." Their voices rise into the trembling air, a fragile chorus against the silence of the forest. Seconds stretch into eternity. Then the monitor steadies, beeping in a strong, slow rhythm. The bear's breathing evens out. Its massive sides rise and fall in quiet, exhausted waves. Keller slumps forward, hands sliding off the bear's fur, body racked with relief. The hikers collapse in a circle around him, some laughing through sobs, others simply staring at the sky, too stunned to speak. Two lives now cling to a thin thread of hope, but they are alive. Against every odd, in the middle of nowhere, in the grip of death, they survive together. First light pours through the canopy, painting the clearing in soft gold. Dr. Keller kneels, motionless, his blood-soaked hands resting on his knees. Around him the hikers sit in stunned silence, eyes swollen and red, their breath shallow and uneven. The air feels holy, like they're all standing on sacred ground. A distant thrum breaks the quiet, the approaching rescue helicopters. Blades slice the morning mist, scattering birds in all directions. A medic team descends with stretchers, moving quickly but carefully, eyes wide as they take in the surreal scene, a barely breathing grizzly and a fragile wolf pup nestled against Keller's chest. They load the bear first. Its head rolls weakly to the side, but it breathes, each exhale a quiet victory. Keller refuses to let go of the pup, cradling it as if it were his own child. When a medic tries to take it, Keller shakes his head, his jaw tight. Only when the helicopter doors open does he finally, gently, pass the pup into their care. The hikers gather in a trembling circle, hugging each other, some still sobbing uncontrollably. One man drops to his knees, head in hands, overcome by the weight of what they witnessed. Another woman looks skyward, whispering thanks to no one in particular. Keller stands beside the helicopter, his shoulders sagging with exhaustion. Blood stains his uniform in dark, jagged patterns, but his eyes are alive, glowing with something like reverence. He watches as the bear and the pup are lifted into the sky, disappearing over the tree line toward the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. News spreads like wildfire. Headlines roar across the country. Vet saves grizzly and wolf pup in impossible wilderness rescue. Videos taken by hikers go viral overnight, capturing the raw emotion and frantic battle for life. Viewers around the world weep, marveling at the impossible bond formed that day. Days turn into weeks. At the rehabilitation center, the bear regains its strength, slowly learning to move again. The wolf pup, now named Spirit by the center staff, begins to eat on its own, its tiny body stronger with each passing day. Keller visits often, standing silently behind the observation glass. The staff jokes that Spirit seems to recognize him, wagging its tiny tail whenever he appears. The bear, too, glances toward the glass, its dark eyes glimmering with a quiet acknowledgement, as if it remembers the man who fought so fiercely to save them both. The hikers form a bond that lingers far beyond the forest. They meet regularly, sharing meals, haunted and healed by what they survived together. They call themselves the Witnesses, forever connected by a moment that shattered and rebuilt them all at once. In the end, no one truly understands how the pup ended up inside the bear, a mystery that remains unsolved, a wild testament to nature's secrets. But what they all know deep in their bones is that life, no matter how fragile or feral, is always worth fighting for. As the sun sets, Keller stands alone at the forest's edge, staring into the darkening trees. He presses a hand to his chest, feeling the echo of two small heartbeats against his memory. Sometimes the wild reveals mysteries we could never imagine, moments that remind us how thin the line between life and death can be, and how deeply all creatures fight to survive. This isn't just a story about a bear and a wolf pup. It's a testament to resilience, compassion, and the unbreakable spirit that connects us all. What would you have done in that forest clearing? Could you have watched, or would you have run? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. If this story moved you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves animals as much as you do. And if you don't want to miss more unbelievable true wildlife stories, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you for being part of this wild journey with us. We'll see you in the next story.